to really have this conversation with you because, your story, when I read your story, it is just so remarkable as to, first of all, I just want to acknowledge as to, first of all, what you have gone through with the aggressive cancer, so
You're going to make me cry.
no, but I really appreciate you though, Bob. I really appreciate you after reading your story. And this is what made me want to have you on the podcast to share your story with people who are facing, being in that similar situation and, give highlight as to what you did and the way you did it. So you are very courageous. You did not go through the traditional route.
No,
I want to
no.
acknowledge you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a very challenging, I mean, cancer is hard anyway.
Yes.
I mean, I will not ever downplay um that the diagnosis. It's devastating. And it's devastating in general, but when you've been in the health and fitness industry for as long as I have been, since I was 18 years old and I'm 52 now, and I have given my life to being healthier personally, but also, sharing that knowledge and gift and passion with other people. And then to get that diagnosis was, I didn't believe it. Like I was shocked, absolutely shocked. Um, so yeah, and then, you know, to get the diagnosis and then to hear, what my only option was at the time. Um, it was a lot. It was a lot to process. It was a lot to digest. And I feel that I was there had to be a reason. There had to be a reason that this was happening. And I feel in the depths of my heart and soul that I was chosen to go through this way because I'm very loud. I am very open, and to share it with others, with other women, in hopes that, you know, that they could see that there is another way if you choose.
Right.
Everybody has to make the choice that is best for them. Um, but also, my biggest thing right now, or not just right now, in general, is getting to the root cause. Like, why did this happen? How did this happen? And digging into somebody that's lived never perfect. None of us are perfect. But lived a very healthy life and
Mhm.
always exercised, always ate well, understands the human body
Right.
and yeah. And then, how did this happen? So, I really want to encourage people to learn from my story so that they could, I'm hoping, avoid going through what
Right.
millions of women are have gone through, and what millions of women are almost designated to go through. I mean,
Mhm.
when you look at the statistics of 2040, and over 3 million women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, it's
Wow. Wow.
alarming. Alarming.
Wow.
And now it's happening younger. It's not a late 40s, early 50s into your 60s diagnosis. There are women that are getting diagnosed in their 30s. And
Right.
So I'm hoping having conversations with people like you, and we can share, we can help some others. That's my goal anyway.
Absolutely. Well, Barb, we are so excited and grateful to have you on the show. And I just wanted to commend you as to what you have gone through. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you. Welcome, everyone, to Ask the Experts podcast. We are so grateful to each and every one of you who tunes in week in and week out to listen, learn, and grow. And this show would not be possible without you, the viewers. So we always want to bring you valuable content and with amazing guests. If you are going through challenges with your health right now, it is vital to have regular checkups with your doctors, whether it's minor or it's something major, just benign, such as a tumor. You always want to have your health and you always want to have regular checkups. So that's very important. And what our guest today, Barb Moylan, is going to share with us as to what she has gone through, the experiences she has faced with cancer. Barb Moylan is a 52-year-old fitness veteran with over 34 years experience helping others transform their health and wellness. She has a exercise science degree. She's a nutritional coach, gut health specialist, and she is currently studying hormonal health. In 2024, however, Barb's world just shifted when she was diagnosed with stage 1 triple positive HER2 plus breast cancer, which is an aggressive and is a spreadable form of disease. And Barb made the courageous decision to approach healing on her terms and not through the traditional route, such as chemo. Barb is an advocate for empowering, educating, and informed decision making. She has unique perspectives to healing cancer, and I'm excited to welcome Barb Moylan to the show. Barb, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so blessed to be here.
Absolutely. Now, I want to start with there's a lot of science about how we can beat disease by changing our diet. But what if it doesn't seem that this is possible? What would you say that the population needs to do? What can they do if it's not through the diet? What would you suggest?
Um, if it's not through diet, well, what I've learned in my experience with my diagnosis is that testing, learning more about your own biology and what is going on inside of the body. And, we can exercise, we can eat healthy, we can do all the, take the supplements. That's what I did all of my life, and still was not able to avoid a breast cancer diagnosis. So what I've learned is that really digging in, if I have people ask me all the time, what if you could do it differently, if you knew now, the saying, if you knew now what, if you knew then what you
Right.
know now,
Not right.
what would you do differently?
Uh-huh.
And I would have dug into testing and learning more about my own biology, and started sooner and started earlier. And you know, one of the biggest tests that I've done is my own DNA test, a genetic test to find out what I was genetically predispositioned for. Now, our genes are, that's what we're born with. And then our lifestyle choices are what determine what direction our genetics are gonna take us in. And I have learned so much about my own body that, genetically, through a methylation detox test, which is part of the DNA test I did, I don't process toxins very well. My body's ability to take toxins, break them down, and get rid of them get them out is suboptimal. So in knowing that now, there was a buildup and a buildup of toxicity. And
Right.
there's a lot of toxicity in the body leads to inflammation.
Mhm.
Inflammation leads to cellular damage. And that is one of the reasons why I got breast cancer. So I would say that, you know, doing being more diligent with testing and taking your health into your own hands, because a lot of the tests that I have done are not prescribed by a doctor. I had to find them on my own and do them to find out the information that is now helping me guide me in the right direction.
Right. So how do we, Bob, reverse the disease or prevent disease? Because most people, I mean, we're not taught. So if you were to say how to reverse the disease, how is that possible? Is it possible? Can we do that?
Well, I like to believe that I am current living proof that it is.
Right. Yes, you are.
You know,
Mhm.
I'm still in the process. I'm still in the middle of the fight and the battle of fixing what became broken. And the thing with disease, and I am not a doctor, so I'm not claiming to, know what a trained medical doctor knows. I'm only going based off of my own experience and my own research and education. And that when you understand how the human body works, which I feel I have a very strong grasp of anatomy, physiology, a cellular function. And with my particular diagnosis, and I would say with most, not all, with most disease, there's a breakdown in the system. And when there's a breakdown in the system, then we've got to figure out where is the breakdown? What
Right.
what created the dis-ease within the body, which would be within the cells. We're made up of trillions of cells. And when your body does not function at a optimal level cellularly, and things start to break down, which is also known as the aging process.
Mhm.
Cells break down and now we're aging. Um, when they break down, then that's where illness starts to settle in.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
I believe, and I am proving day by day, that with the right tools, with the right information,
Right.
with the right tools, with committing to doing the work that needs to be done, I feel that there is a very strong, very, very strong opportunity to heal ourselves. So, is it 100%, absolutely yes, we could. I can't say that, every person is different.
Yes.
And everybody is very bio individual, and everybody's situation and illness is different. So I don't like to put a blanket statement over everybody, but I think that there's a lot more opportunity available to us if we're willing to look under the hood a
Right.
little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yes. Is it possible to cure cancer through food?
Well, um, I certainly hope so, because that's the
That's what you.
trajectory I'm on. Um, Food alone, no. Is it
What
a
about foods and supplement? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, when I got diagnosed and I was looking at a treatment plan, a very aggressive treatment plan, even stage one, you know,
Mhm.
I felt like I was stage 3 or 4 with the amount of chemotherapy, and Herceptin was another drug that they wanted to give me. Um, and it just didn't feel right. I was like, I, you know, that sounds like I'm sicker than I am. That just seems like a lot.
Right.
And I went into research mode, and I read every book I could get my hands on of anybody that has gone after their cancer diagnosis from a natural, food-based, alternative, holistic, whatever word you want to use,
Mm-hmm.
that is outside of the conventional medical model of chemotherapy, radiation, pharmaceutical drugs. And because of my background and because of my upbringing, I have always believed that food is medicine.
Right.
I, my mom was a raw foodist for 25 years, and I watched her go through her 50s, 60s, 70s, not on one medication because of the food choices that she made. And so I felt like if I could nourish my body, find out where the deficiencies are,
Mm-hmm.
where are my deficiencies? What am I lacking? And then feed the cells and feed the body with the nutrients that it needs to thrive, not just survive. I don't want to just survive cancer. I want to thrive. I want to,
Right.
I want to live a a very healthy and energetic life well into my 90s, into my hundreds. And so, you know, I believe that with the right, again, the right tools and understanding, I got a micronutrient test done to find out what micronutrient tests or micronutrients I'm deficient in. And I was deficient in vitamin A, vitamin D, iodine, selenium. I mean, those are 4 big hitting nutrients that, when you're deficient in those nutrients, causes some problems inside of the body on a cellular level. So by nurturing and feeding and juicing, I mean, I juice every
Juice. Yeah.
second, and I just juiced at 6 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
I juice for like at least 2 to 3 days. I have
Right.
enough juice. and I do 40 to 48 ounces of juice a day,
Wow.
to just overload my body with nutrients so that it can thrive and it can rebuild. That's what I'm trying to rebuild my body, and what, unfortunately, not known to me, what broke down. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean it, and I was going based off of the external, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
I felt good, I looked good, my skin is good. Um, but I didn't dig deep enough soon enough, because I feel like if I would have uncovered some things and I could have been more proactive. And now that is what I'm trying to help other women do, is let's get under the hood. Let's, let me guide you and share with you the testing that I did, and let's find out your deficiencies. Let's get I mean, the fact that I'm a nutrition coach and a gut health specialist, thank goodness, because I was able to be my own patient, my own client.
Right. Yes.
I
Yeah.
went inward and said, okay, it's now I need to take care of me. I have coached and guided thousands of other people. Now it's my turn to go in a little deeper. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
That did. That's very, very powerful. Two thoughts that just came to mind. First off, prior to going into your own research that you discovered yourself, when you were taking the traditional route, the drugs that the doctors were prescribing, did you experience side effects? Was that the reason why then you shifted into doing your own research and coming up with the more healing methodology? Did you experience any side effects at that time, or
oh
you
no.
probably
Well,
didn't?
no, because I didn't do any of it.
Well, you
I
didn't do any of it. Oh, I see. Okay, you didn't do any of it. Mm,
no, I did surgery. I did have a double mastectomy.
right.
I had 3 tumors in my right breast. And there was a 9-week period between diagnosis and the surgery date. And they wanted me to do 6 rounds of chemotherapy to shrink the size of the mass
Oh, I see.
from one tumor to the next. And I was having nightmares about
Mm,
chemotherapy. Like I
mhm.
would wake up in the middle of the night nauseous and like
Oh, wow.
having side effects without even having the drug in me.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I remember I called my mother and I said, Mom, I can't do this. Like nothing about this decision makes sense to me for
Mhm,
me.
mhm,
And I just can't, I don't think I can do it. And she said, well, honey, you have always followed your inner guide, and it has always shown you the way. And don't stop trusting that now. If you don't feel that this is the right decision for you, don't do it. And
mhm,
you will figure it out. It will come to you. And so that's what I did. And I threw the kitchen sink at this thing for 9 weeks.
mhm.
And I have a friend that's a compound pharmacist, and she, um, bless her heart, she gave me a lot of information about repurposed drugs, which is fenbendazole. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
No.
fenbendazole and ivermectin are um, they're actually parasite removing drugs.
Mhm,
They're veterinarian medicine, but they do make it for humans as well.
mhm,
But there's a lot of studies and research that is out, and especially they had their biggest peer review study on fenbendazole and ivermectin as a viable cure for cancer. And so I read the research, and she said, look, if you're open and willing to take this medication because it has minimal side effects. The only thing you have to really keep your eye on is your liver enzymes. Make sure
Right.
that your liver is processing the medication properly. So we just need to get liver enzymes tested monthly. And I said, okay, I read it. It made sense to me. It was way less invasive. It was way less side effects. And so I started taking that. The first thing I did was I fasted. I did an extended fast. I only lasted 58 hours. I did my best the first time around. But I read all of the benefits of killing cancer cells and autophagy through
Wow.
fasting. So
Mhm.
I fasted, I started juicing. I every single food, and I have a list. So if anybody needs it, every single food that I would put into my body either
Mhm.
killed cancer or stopped the growth of cancer. That
Wow.
was only food I would put in my body. Then I went after the supplements. What supplements do I need to be taking to support killing cancer cells? And there are natural supplements
Mhm.
available. I on Amazon. I order it on Amazon still. And I just created a routine, a protocol, every day. The pills that I take and the rebounding. I'm trying to drain the lymphatic system. And in 9 weeks, again, they wanted me to do chemo to shrink,
Right.
and it was a 5 centimeter mass. And when they removed the 3 tumors out of my breast, it was not 5 centimeters anymore. It was 3.2.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to shrink the mass,
Mhm.
and one of the tumors shrunk 0.2 millimeters
Wow.
on it, like just singularly. And I said to the oncologist afterwards, I said, so I didn't need 6 rounds of chemo, did I? And she goes, amazingly, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. Even then, it was the urgency was it's gonna spread. It's gonna go into the lymphatic system.
Mm.
Barb, if it goes into the lymphatic system, now you're in trouble. Now it'll metastasize. It'll go to the lungs, or it could go to the lymph, or the thyroid, or it can go anywhere in the body. And I was able to contain it. It did not go into the lymph. I was able to shrink it. And I know that it is because of the tools and the effort that I put into healing myself and into going after this disease with everything that I could. And, outside of the food and the supplements, um, I was doing high dose vitamin C IV infusions and
Right.
hyperbaric chamber and infrared sauna and red light therapy. And it's called the superhuman protocol, where you do the PMF mat for grounding, and then you do exercise with oxygen training. So I'm got an oxygen mask on, breathing in 99% pure oxygen, trying to, you know, cancer cells cannot live in an oxygenated environment. So I was bombarding my body with as much oxygen to this day. I still do. I went this morning. And so I was doing these alternative treatments and
Mhm.
still do to this day, um, to battle the cancer. And so far, as of right now, almost 9 months after my surgery, my imaging is clear. There's no indication whatsoever through imaging that I have any cancer in my chest or breast. Through blood work and um, tumor marker, uh, there are cancer tumor marker blood work that you can do. All of my numbers are very low, lower than than they need to be. So
Right.
as of right now, I am cancer free. I do have an appointment on Monday, a 6 month follow up with the same oncologist. I asked her, I said, look, if I choose, because it is a choice. And I think that, that's what people don't understand. It's a hard choice.
Yes.
It's a hard choice because it's
Mhm.
terrifying. We are we are conditioned that the person, the doctor is the expert,
Yeah.
and I absolutely respect the medical community. I do. Um, but I am a sovereign being, and it is my body, and I have to do what I did, and I am doing what I felt was best for my body.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Well, Barb, I really want to acknowledge you, and I just want to congratulate you for the steps that you took, to really, and it's our body, so we are our worst enemy when it comes to our body, what we feed the body, or we praise our body as to the healing potential that our body has. Now, Bob, you mentioned about the lymphatic, that the disease could have spread. Could you
Yes.
explain to the viewers? Because as the experts we want to bring value to our viewers with amazing guests like you. Can you share about the lymphatic? If the disease had spread to the lymphatic, what happens?
So your lymphatic system, you have more lymph fluid than you do blood in your body. I mean, the lymphatic drainage system in your body, and it is responsible for detoxifying your body. Okay. And having a healthy lymphatic drainage is imperative to the removal of toxins. And and especially with breast cancer, because you have lymph nodes very in proximity to the breast. So in the armpit, you have them in the chest cavity.
Mhm.
Um, and if the cancer cells had grown and spread and entered into that lymphatic system,
Right.
then it would have just shot out into the rest of the body and could
Oh,
have
wow.
landed on any organ,
Mhm.
any area, and caused metastasis. And that is the main fear with cancer, is if you can isolate it and contain it, you have, from what I understand and what I've learned from this process, again, I'm not a doctor, that if you can contain it, if you can get in front of it early, and that's why early detection is so important, because the sooner
Yes.
you
Mhm.
get aware of it, the sooner you can do what you need to. Because let's say that I'm the one that um detected the lumps in my breast. It wasn't through a mammogram. I was laying on the couch watching TV. I had my arm up and I rubbed my rib, and I grazed the bottom of my breast in rubbing my rib. And I felt this little tiny like BB. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I did a self exam, and thank goodness that I did that happened, because
Right.
I could have gone another 6 months.
Yes.
Now,
Mhm.
I had a mammogram in 2022. I missed my mammogram in 2023. And then when I found my own lump, I booked a mammogram, or I called my doctor. I went in, they examined me, and then they said, we need to do a mammogram. Um, and then, the mammogram, I have dense breast tissue, which many, many women do. And so they needed to do an ultrasound. And then that's when it was confirmed that I had breast cancer. Um, what I have learned that I want to share with your audience in this process, I have learned about thermography, which I was not aware of
What
prior.
is thermography?
Thermography is it is thermal imaging, and it's basically thermal pictures, and you can get any part of your body
Right.
thermographed.
Mhm.
Um, and it is a non-toxic, non-invasive way to identify inflammation within the body. And this, I did a workshop. Once I did my surgery, and as I'm just a coach and teacher, and my very first workshop post surgery was a prevention workshop. And I actually had a thermographer, a local thermographer here in South Florida, on the workshop talking about thermography. And if anybody is interested in learning more and wants to see that video, I am more than happy to share it with you and with your audience. I am more than happy to share that workshop with anybody that is interested in learning
Mhm.
how to prevent um, things that we can do to
Right.
detox.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I learned that was fascinating is that with thermography, it will pick up in the breast. I'm going to talk specifically about the breast.
Right.
At 256 cells, it will pick up inflammation in the breast or estrogen dominance. It'll
Wow.
light up red with any kind of inflammatory response happening in the breast. When there's an inflammatory response happening in the breast, that is, your breast health is compromised.
Right.
When you go to get a mammogram,
Mhm.
it's somewhere, and I would have to double check my numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's upwards of 4 trillion cells
Oh, wow.
have to come together to be picked up in a mammogram. Now,
Wow.
there's a big difference between 256 and, even if it was 4 billion, let's say
Right.
it's 4 billion, not 4 trillion.
It's a lot.
That's a big difference. And
Right.
I learned this, and I was like, and I learned that this breast cancer didn't pop up between 2022 and 2024. It
Hmm.
only became big enough to be seen on a mammogram
Right.
year 2024. It had been brewing inside of my body anywhere from 6 to 8 years, is what I learned.
Hmm.
And if I would have known about thermography 6 to 8 years ago,
Right.
I could have seen that there was some red, there was some heat, there was some inflammation happening. And I could have been like, okay, there's a problem. Now I need to look at my inflammatory markers, maybe get some blood work and see where my inflammatory markers are. Is my lymphatic system draining toxins out properly? Am I properly processing toxicity, which I found out I wasn't?
Mhm.
And I could have started the process of detoxing sooner, and I could have avoided it. And that is now my mission with as many women as I can get in front of and share my story, is that we can use the tools available to us once we're aware, like I am now, and now I'm sharing with you.
Right.
I mean, some of the things I've mentioned today, did you know about before?
I didn't know about them before, but I think, it was great learning for me as well to know about what are some of the tools, the preventative tools that we can use. And you talked about, when you had that mammogram done, and, doctors always say it was about a month ago that I went to see my doctor, and he always tells me, you want to go for a mammogram? Do you want to go for a colonoscopy? And I refuse. So having regular checkups, having a mammogram done detects you from, any kind of benign tumor that could be residing in your body. And we don't know when
Well,
it's
and
too
the
late.
hard part is, I mean, I'll never get a mammogram again. Like, even if I had breast tissue,
Why
knowing
is that?
what I know
Why is
now,
that?
because the toxicity of a mammogram. I mean,
Right. Yes.
the
Hmm.
fact that you are, and I'm sorry, I, you know, early detection
Hmm.
is essential, but there are other tools outside of a mammogram that you can utilize. That, I mean, thermography has been around since 1982. It
Right.
has been around for years. And the fact that it is not recognized
Hmm.
more as a I mean, in my opinion, you get a mammogram, it's almost too late. Like, I mean, it could be in there. It's just not big enough to detect, like
Yeah.
what happened to me.
True.
It
Yeah.
was in there. It didn't,
Right.
the three tumors did not grow in a 2 year period.
Hmm.
Period. I know that. And nobody can tell me that these things just popped up in 2 years. That's impossible. And so when you're taking your breast and you are smashing it
Yeah.
between
Hmm.
two pieces of glass, and
Right.
then you are penetrating it with radiation, I'm not saying that one mammogram is going to give you breast cancer. But if we're told that at the age of 40, we need to start screening, and
Hmm.
then now I'm 52, that's 12 mammograms. And
Hmm.
and let's not forget, through a DNA test, I do not uh metabolize toxins well in my methylation detox pathway.
Mhm.
I do not deal with toxicity well. Let's go ahead and put that out there. Now, every year, I'm throwing radiation into my breast, into my,
Right.
I have a hard time with that. Where, you know what? Now I screen with thermography and ultrasound. And yes, I have to pay $185 out of my own pocket because my insurance does not cover thermography. It covers ultrasound. And thank goodness my doctor will write me a prescription for ultrasound, and I don't have to have a mammogram and an ultrasound. And I know for some women, their doctor won't write them a prescription for just ultrasound. So, the system has been what it's been for so long. And it's, my opinion, not the best system for in the best interest of the woman, in my opinion. I think that there are better options. I think there are other options.
Right.
I think that we have to be bold enough to investigate those other options and not feel like that it's there's not just one way. There isn't. There's not just one way. And
Right.
that's what, there isn't only one way to screen. There isn't only one way to cure. There isn't only one way to keep from reoccurrence. That was the other thing with the diagnosis or the treatment plan, was the long-term effects of chemotherapy. When I read the long-term, the short-term,
Mhm.
losing the hair, the illness,
Yes.
neuropathy, the heart, lung, kidney, liver. I mean, I have a very good friend that at 37 years old got diagnosed with esophagus cancer.
Oh,
37
wow.
years old,
Oh,
female,
wow. Mm.
3 little kids. And you know what? 7 years later, she's cancer free. But guess what?
Amazing. Wow.
Right. Cancer free. She did all the chemo.
Beautiful. Wow.
But guess what? She now needs a liver transplant because her liver is failing. And she has openly stated on social media that it is because of the chemotherapy. And
Oh.
she's not a candidate for a liver transplant. That's a problem.
Mhm.
So, did the chemo get rid of the cancer? Yeah. Did it create a whole nother problem? Absolutely. And that was my fear, that I did not want to open up Pandora's box of other medical issues.
Mhm.
And I believe in my body's ability to heal itself. I believe that this is an amazing machine that we
Mhm.
were given, and that if we, again, like I said in the beginning, if we find out what's going on, we
Mhm.
believe in ourselves and our ability to do the work. And, you know, that's the other problem, is that, everybody wants a pill to fix things.
Yes.
Pill for this, there's a pill for that. And, the road that I chose, it's every single day. Every day it is work. But I pray every day that what I'm doing is I'm reversing. You had said that in the beginning. I am reversing what went wrong. I am
Right.
fixing what was broken. And with doing that, I believe that I can avoid reoccurrence, that I
Mhm.
can avoid other health issues because I'm nurturing my body, not destroying it. So,
Absolutely. And absolutely, I agree with that. You need to, in order to know how your body works through the healing modality, whether the traditional route, you got to know, you got to make those tweaks and adjustments, but you can't make those tweaks and adjustments if you don't know, first of all, what is happening at the cellular level.
correct.
So, Bob, as a fitness professional, you've been a veteran for 2 years in the fitness industry. What are the three foods that lengthen telomeres? Could you share with our audience what are telomeres, first of all, and what are the foods that lengthen telomeres?
Oh boy, you're getting real deep on me here.
I know. We're
Um,
experts. We love to do that.
yeah. Well, as far as lengthening the telomeres, ooh, I
Yes.
honestly, I cannot say off the top of my head exactly with confidence what foods. However, I will give you this, that something that I have added in to my daily nutrition uh,
Mhm.
that is overlooked is sulforaphane.
What
And
is sulforaphane?
sulforaphane is the ingredient in broccoli,
Right.
and it is one of the most powerful nutrients within the food, because that's what I've been trying to find is, okay, what foods are very high antioxidant, very high nutrient value that on a cellular level will repair and refine the ability of the cell to function better. And
Right.
so I have introduced now eating a lot of broccoli is very hard. So, but what I found, and this would be a great addition to your audience's nutritional plan, is broccoli sprouts. You can get them in most stores, and they're in the produce section near the alfalfa sprouts.
Right.
But they are these tiny micro sprouts that come there, and they're called broccoli sprouts, and they are very rich in sulforaphane. And sulforaphane is also something that I supplement with as well. An interesting fact is that it is part of one of the supplements that I am taking to help up regulate one of my estrogens. I did a urine metabolite test, also known as a Dutch test. One of my estrogens in my body is out of whack. And it, because it's not where it needs to be, wherever that estrogen lands, it causes DNA damage. Well, that estrogen was landing in my breast when I
Right.
had breast tissue,
Okay. Uh-huh.
which is another factor that led to my breast cancer diagnosis. So, a dysfunctional methylation detox process is one reason, root cause. Rogue estrogen inside of my body, another cause. And I'm taking a nutraceutical that has the broccoli sulforaphane and DIM to help up regulate that estrogen, so that, and it's going to take me some time. I've been on it since November,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to retest after 6 months and see if that supplement combination has helped upregulate that estrogen. But sulforaphane is such a potent nutrient on a cellular level that I would highly recommend, if you don't get it in your food, try to get it in a supplement form. You can do like it's called Brock Elite, you can look that up on either Amazon. I get a lot of my supplements through Life Extension, the company Life Extension.
Mhm.
But that is an amazing nutrient to add to your diet. Another amazing nutrient is moringa.
What is moringa?
Moringa is it's a plant out of India, and I get it in a powder form. And again, it's a very high antioxidant, cellular repair supplement. And I just take a scoop, I'll put it in my juice, I'll put it in my smoothie. You can mix it. I've put it in my tea before and mixed it in my tea.
Mhm.
But getting extra nutrients that are going to help repair the body from the inside out. And though, I mean, if I had to pick two, those would be the two. And
Okay.
then if you had to pick a third one, um, that would be tough, because I would waver between
Right. Those two.
vitamin C,
Yeah.
because I do very high doses of vitamin C throughout the day. Um, Vitamin C is very anti-inflammatory, very antioxidant. Like I mean, vitamin C is very helps repair. I mentioned I do the IV drips,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I'll do 50 grams, which is 50,000 milligrams of vitamin C in an IV drip once a week to um, boost my cellular activity,
Right.
boost cellular ability, um,
Exactly. Yeah.
function at a higher level. So
Exactly.
I
To
didn't
boost that
I, I didn't
optimal.
quite get into the telomeres, but I hope that was helpful.
That was amazing. That was so helpful. What you mentioned on boost the immune system, boosting the cell. So what are three foods or three ways that we can boost the immune system?
With boosting the immune system,
Yes.
Steve, we've got to go after the gut, because over 70% of your immune system resides in the microbiome. So
Mhm.
with putting more of a focus on the diversity of the foods that you consume, and making sure that, number one, we got to get rid of the processed foods.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yes. Mhm.
alone. I mean, I have clients that I coach that are not cancer. Like I have cancer clients, and I have regular nutrition clients. And the bloating, or they just don't feel good. They're
Mhm.
tired, they're lethargic, the brain fog, and the belly bloat, and all of that. As soon as you take out the processed foods, the belly bloat goes down, they're sleeping better, they feel better, their skin starts to look better. So the first thing you've got to do to build your immune system is you've got to look at the ingredient labels of your foods. If you are eating anything in a box, a bag, a package, anything, you've got to look at the ingredients. And my rule of thumb is if you cannot recognize the word, or if you cannot easily say the word,
Right.
the ingredient, it does not belong inside of your body. Period.
Right.
End of story.
Mm-hmm.
So that you've got to start there. As far as foods that can help you build your immunity is, I mean, not everybody's favorite, but I have a jar of fermented sauerkraut in my refrigerator, and I go through a jar a week. I
Wow.
will put sauerkraut on my eggs. I will put it on my sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
So the fermented foods are very good at building a good microbiome. Um, a diversity of berries, get your blueberries and your strawberries. They're low glycemic, so they are good on your blood sugar, keeping the blood sugar down and boosting your immunity with a diversity of berries is very important. And also, finding out, and I'll post this on my social media, your seasonal vegetables, what's in season, and looking at and you could Google this, like what fruits and vegetables are in season right now.
Right.
Find out what is in season
Mm-hmm.
and pick out the ones that you like and introduce. I mean, I ask, how many servings of fruits and vegetables in a day do you get? And I get answers of like 1, 2, 3, when we should be getting 5, 6, 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to help create a diverse microbiome and a healthy balance, which ultimately is going to boost your immune system.
Wow.
So I hope that helps.
This is fascinating. It is so good. Would you recommend, like in smoothies, for example, would you recommend frozen berries or the fresh?
Um, I've always honestly, I mean, fresh is always better,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But frozen is next best. And
Mhm.
from a convenience perspective, I've always using frozen. And I just read a research study that showed that actually taking fresh blueberries and freezing them,
Mhm.
you stop the oxidation process of the berry and by freezing it. And so honestly, that's what I've been doing is I'll buy the berries fresh,
Right.
I'll take them
And then
home,
freeze it. Yeah.
and I will soak them in baking soda and filtered water to get
Ah,
clean them out and get the
okay.
pesticides. And I buy organic, but there can still be stuff in there. Then I put them in a container, a glass, never plastic container, and I freeze them. And then I just take them out and put them in my smoothie. I actually had them as a snack last night. I put some in a bowl and I was watching TV and I just ate frozen blueberries
Oh,
as
wow.
a snack. Um,
That's
but the one thing that I wanted to mention with all of this conversation that we've had today,
right.
that not only the choice of, I feel that there are a lot of people out there that, if given the right information, would want to pursue a more alternative, natural, holistic approach to cancer, to most diseases, right? I feel that way.
Right.
But and I'm experiencing this myself. The hardest part for me is not waking up every day and doing the work and, making the juice and making the smoothies and taking the supplements and going to treatment and getting the oxygen mask on. That's not the hard part. The hard part is that, and I have health insurance, is that the juicing, the supplements, the treatment path that I've chosen is not covered by insurance.
Right.
And I have had so many people reach out to me on social media and say, I want to do what you're doing, but I can't afford it.
That's right. Exactly. Most people can't.
I
Yeah.
can't
Hmm.
afford it. And I understand. And I am a single woman. I am not married. I have a job that I make an income. I have a coaching business. I make an income, but it costs upwards of $2,500 to $3,000 extra on top of my bills to do all of this. And
Right.
I've had to do a fundraiser to raise the funds to be able to do this.
Hmm.
To me, that's the hardest part of all of this, is that the $600 a month that I pay in health insurance
Hmm.
does not cover my choice of treatment. And it's not, it's the most unfortunate situation that we are in this day and age, is that, you know, uh, if I would have chosen chemotherapy, 12 rounds, they wanted me to do 12 rounds of chemotherapy,
Wow.
15 with no lymph, stage
Hmm.
1, no lymph,
Yeah.
12 rounds, 15 rounds of Herceptin, 5 years of tamoxifen, 5 years.
Wow.
And I got an estimate from the American Cancer Society. It would have cost $103,000 to $146,000 for that
Wow.
treatment,
Wow.
and my insurance would have covered it.
Mm.
But doing what I'm doing, which is about $80,000 for a 2-year period, doesn't cover any of it.
Hmm. I absolutely agree with you, Bob, that we have choices and we want to do as to what's best for our bodies. And oftentimes, it's very expensive. It could be costly, and sometimes it's not even covered under OHIP here in Canada. So, private, you have to pay a lot to even have those treatments. So I saw your page, you've got a GoFund page, and maybe we'll share that in the link as well. But I really just want to acknowledge you, Bob. This has been such a powerful and enlightening conversation. It's such a great pleasure to meet you and have you and share your story, but also educate as to what people need to do,
Yes.
if they're in that situation, and what can be done.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that is now my mission and my purpose, is I want to help guide people and, be a resource and coach and um help people get to the root cause and
Mhm.
find out, you know, even if, I mean, I don't want people to wait for a diagnosis though. You know what I mean? Like that is, I thought about it earlier today, and I am all about getting to the root cause, because I'm getting to the root cause of my own
Well,
disease.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you have to. Yes. Mhm.
But if you have not been faced with a diagnosis, prevention, and don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid to find out what is going on inside of you. Ask your doctors, can you do a micronutrient test? What am I deficient in? Can we run a methylation detox test?
Mhm.
If they won't do it, there are then you would have to go out of pocket. The DNA test that I did was $499, but it gave me 7 different areas of my hormones, my methylation, diet. I found out I was gluten intolerant. I found out that I was predispositioned to a suboptimal microbiome. I just did some GI mapping and it confirmed that I have some gut issues, which means, that affects my immune system. So, if we can, and I go to my doctor and I say, hey, can you run this test? Can you run that test for me? And I mean, the worst he's going to say is no, but at least I asked.
That's right. Yeah.
And so if my situation can inspire somebody else to go, you know what? I am whatever age, and it's never too late. When I hear somebody say, well, I'm just getting old and I just, it's it's too late. I'm like, no, it's not too late. We
Right.
always do better. We can always find a way to improve the quality of our lives and find a way to to get in front of something that nobody wants to go through. Trust me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Don't want to go through this. It's not fun. Um, so I'm hoping that, either my message or my share can help, or, if somebody needs my help and they can reach out to me and allow me, the privilege of guiding them would be my honor.
Absolutely. Barb, on that final thought, where can people get in touch with you? How can we serve you better?
So on social media, on Instagram, either my name, which is Barb Moylan, Moylan, or Bam Fit, the number 4 life. That is both my Facebook and Instagram handles. My website, my nutrition, gut health, and now cancer coaching website is www.bamfit4life.com. If you want to learn more about my cancer story and my treatment and my purpose and all of the things that I've been doing, I also have another website, which is www.beatingcancermyway.com. And then you can find my GoFundMe is in my Instagram bio. There's a link in my Instagram bio. You can also find a tab within my beatingcancermyway.com website. And you could just message me
Okay,
on.
amazing, amazing.
And
Barb, this has been, yes, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was going to say, and if anybody has any questions and they want to message me on social media, I have a great prevention guide that it's a
Mhm.
checklist that I would love to share with your viewers, and I can email that to anybody that's interested. It's a food checklist. It's got resources of how to detoxify your house, your cleaning products, your cosmetics, how to get cleaner products within your home and how to get cleaner food inside of your body. And it's a beautiful checklist that is super helpful. So if anybody would like that, reach out and I can email it to you. I'd love to share that with anybody that's interested.
Absolutely, Barb. Well, I really appreciate you for taking out your time. This has been such an amazing and a powerful conversation. Everything that we need to know about cancer, preventative measures that we can take. So I would just want to thank you for this time. And I want to thank each and every one of you who tune in to learn and grow. And you've heard what Barb has shared with us. Take the measures, take the steps to go to your doctors. Don't be afraid as to what they might diagnose. It may not be anything, but as long as you are going to the doctors, having regular checkups as we have to do. And I'm guilty of that as well, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to do that. So we want to make sure that you are doing that. Don't be afraid. And we want to thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next episode of Ask the Experts. Thank you, Barb, for your time. This
Thank
is such
you.
an amazing conversation. It was so good. And I'm so excited